Okay, today we're talking about replacing the parts on the Escapade's first generation, which is a hexagonal drive shaft. Looks like this. It does not look like this, which is what we're currently using, which is a round 3/4 inch drive shaft. It's a 1/2 inch drive shaft across the flats. These here are all the parts that that go on there to do it, and I'm going to put all of these parts on in the order that they go. This is towards the bow of the boat, towards the front. This is the stern and where the propeller goes. This is the first part to put on. This is a reverse thrust disc. It's got the hex shape here, and it's got a screw that to tighten up to clamp it in place. First thing to do is to put it on. It's definitely a press fit, but it will slide on like that. Next item is this. This is also a press fit on here. You put that on with the flange that goes up against the reverse thrust disc, and this all goes up underneath the seat. So you actually will have to put these parts on from the bow end of the drive shaft, because this goes up through the tube that is goes up through the ballast and is a permanent fixture in the Escapade in there. So these actually will have to go on from the bow, and you can put these in place after you put the drive shaft up through into the boat. And that also includes this assembly right here. This is the seal that keeps water from leaking up into the boat in here. It's a seal, it's held in place, and there's also a bushing inside this outer bushing. So this will go on next, and it'll also go on from the bow. Of course, this will go on first because we're doing it reverse now. Once this gets into place up in there, this with the seal in there, it's a rubber seal, will go on there, and once everything is in place, you need to have a space of about 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch between these. We've gone through this in other videos very much. You've got to have space. If you have this in here up tight, because of the expansion and contraction of the boat, once you get out on the water or at some particular stage, if you don't have this space in here, it'll start to bind up as you're pedaling, and believe me, you don't want that to happen. So make sure you have a space in there. Now this part goes into the tube that's in the boat, and that tube can either be a fiberglass, a white fiberglass tube that sticks out through the ballast dam. There's a ballast dam that goes here, and it sticks out about 4 inches there. And this part goes into the end of there. It slides in. It's not a heavy press fit in there at all, but you do need to have some marine adhesive, and we use this goop right here, and we can provide it for you if you don't want to get your own marine adhesive, but it's got to be something that is waterproof. In any case, you put a little bit of this on here. Make darn sure that you do not get it around on the inside on here. If you get it on here, and I'll talk about that at the other end too, it will lock up. It'll bead up in there and lock up the drive shaft and keep it from turning. This assembly here has to be able to turn within this. This stays permanently in one position as far as rotation is concerned. The rest of this turns as part of the drive shaft. All right, this end, like I said, comes in from the bow end, and then this part right here, minus this right now, this goes up in the other end of the tube at the keel of the boat, at the back end. This goes in there. There's 2 screws that you have that go in the back, and this part will also go into that tube and needs to have some of this adhesive on there. And once again, be darn sure you do not get any of this inside here. If you do happen to get it inside, you know that you've got it. Don't try to rub it out while it's still wet. Leave it there, walk away from it, come back hours later, and you will be able to stick your finger in there and it will peel out of there. If you try to wipe it out or anything like that, you're bound to leave some of it in there, and all it'll do is ball up in there, and it will be extremely difficult to pedal, if not impossible. This part goes on next. I'm going to put this on here. This goes up in there. This bushing, which is a wear bushing right here, goes on. Then this part here goes into the propeller. And there's actually two parts here. One of them is split, and that's so that you can get it into the propeller a lot easier. And once again, this will need some of this marine adhesive on here, and put it around the outside. Do not get it up into the inside, and don't get it up into there. If you do get it into here, although this turns with the drive shaft, you'll not be able to get it off of there when and if you have to do a replacement in the future. But just put a little bit around here, and then you can put this in place here, and this is definitely a press fit, and you can just take a small hammer. I'll get one right here. You can put a small hammer, but don't overdo it. You could just need to tap this into place. You can tap around the edges,